Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall Lionesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
It's the second show of COVID-19 Lockdown 3.0 here in England, and I'm your host, Gary Staff, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan, Godwin, George Lampey, and Bethany Warren.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Hello everyone, how are we doing?
Yeah,
We're doing well, mate.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Well, apart from getting me teeth in on the first link already, but that's something for the outtakes at Christmas. So, Bethany, Boreham Wood, did you manage to catch the game? Did you watch it? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I did manage to catch it. We don't have BT Sports, so I was trying to find it anywhere, but I managed to get it on Bet365 in the end. Yeah, I thought it was a good game. It was really nice to see a bit of a different team out, especially people we haven't seen. Obviously, we hadn't seen Frank Fielding since that first game of the season. Was it last year or the year before now?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was it. So it was nice to see them out, and it was a really nice 2-0 win. I haven't got my teeth in either. But yeah, it was. I like to see the team mixing up, giving some of the players a bit of a rest, especially ahead of the Bournemouth game, which was going to be quite big for us. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Cool. George, so Boreham Wood and the 4th and 5th round draw. So with a trip up to Bristol City first, if we and then if we beat them, could be Sheffield or Plymouth. What are your thoughts?
Well, if I can just quickly get onto the Boreham Wood game, I saw them play Barnet, and I thought they were very good, actually, Boreham Wood. So I think the fact that we put them to bed fairly easily was a credit to us, because I thought they could have given us some problems. The draw, well, that's another one. I think Bristol City are kind of one of the decent teams in this division. So, yeah, it's a fairly hard draw, but I think the one thing I've noticed with us, as far as this division is concerned, that we're a match for anybody. So I'm not as fazed by anybody in this league as I have been maybe in seasons gone by.
Fair enough. And if we get past them, Sheffield again or Plymouth?
Well, Sheffield are obviously a good team, despite where, but yeah, I mean, that's just... Let's I think, do one at a time, if I'm really honest about that, Kel.
Yeah, fair enough. But if I'm being honest, I can see Sheffield not bothering against Plymouth, and maybe we'd be playing Plymouth in that, because I think Sheffield, as my dad said, won't be worried about the Cup at this stage, as you just want to survive in the Premier League, I think.
No, well, you make a good point there, actually, and I think that, I mean, should we find ourselves in the position to be playing Plymouth, and I think we're a long way down the line as far as the Cup's concerned. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Stan, the Bournemouth game. In hindsight, I think we should have won, but I'd have taken a point before the start. Would you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as it happens, I didn't actually see the game as it goes, but but I mean, it was always going to be a difficult game. I mean, you only have to look at Bournemouth, where they currently are, new manager, and the players seem to be responding to him. And I think if they'd have beaten us that night, they'd have gone second. Yep. But what I was interested in, I mean, I saw what the score was, 1-1 draw, which I thought was very good. And then what I was interested in was to find out how we actually played. Was it an improvement on what had happened before? Not including Boreham Wood, because that was a different thing altogether. But no, and I've seen the goal since then, and I've seen bits and pieces of the game, and we did play well by all accounts. And I'm given to understand that the young fullback who's taken over for the time being for a Marlon, he actually gave a better performance than he did previously against Boreham, which I thought he played okay in. So, no, it all looks good, and and we go to the next game, don't we? Which is now, well, we've got Forest, don't we? So we'll have to wait and see. But that'll equally be a difficult game. It won't be easy.
Indeed. Right, we'll take a break there and be back with our first guest this evening. But for now, let's listen to Aisling talking about Love Sport Radio.
Hi, Aisling here. Since the first lockdown, you have heard our Bethany Warren continue to say that we were waiting to return with Love Sport Radio. This was because owner Kelvin McKenzie said it was taking a break back in April due to COVID-19 and would be back when normality returned to the marketplace. From 31st December, Love Sport Radio has ceased transmission, marking the end of the road for the service. Kelvin McKenzie's closing words to radio today were, "COVID killed the radio show. Commercial revenues collapsed in March. The radio business, especially small radio, is taking a terrible hammering. We enjoyed our experience with the Love Sport Radio team and thank them for their support when working with them at the studio and since. For now, we will continue to broadcast our show as we have done since last April, and we thank you, the listeners, for your continued support. Onwards and upwards."
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan Godwin, George Lampey and Bethany Warren. Sadly, and it's such a shame as I was a regular listener to lots of its shows, that Love Sport Radio is no more. However, you can still find us on Spreaker by searching Millwall No One Likes Us Talking. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, via our website, or all the popular podcast websites, including Spotify, etc. So, our first guest has become a familiar voice to many Millwall fans now around the pre-pandemic. He's the man who leads a gifted team who deliver a wide range of services to the wider community from the Den and supports those other football teams that carry the Millwall brand. Welcome once again, the CEO of the Millwall Community Trust, Sean Daly.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, Sean.
Happy New Year, Sean. So, Sean, before I let you talk to the team, it was great to hear from Peter Varney before Christmas about the We Do Care Hospital Heroes project with the NHS. Following up on that, how has it been going, and are there any new initiatives with the project, and for how long is it intended to continue?
Yeah, so around November we kicked off with it. So we started off with, well, really, we went back to the hospitals and sort of said, what would the key workers like? What do they need? What support do they need? What can we help them with? And a lot came through saying about they needed some workshops around finances and how to get mortgages and how to work out their credit scores and stuff like that. So we teamed up with Barclays and we did a workshop around finance, and we had about 80 key workers at Lewisham attend the workshop. So that was successful. Then we started a weekly yoga fitness session 2 times a week. We were having about 40 key workers attending every night on a Zoom meeting. And then we, after that, we really kicked off with the Santa Dash, which the Lionesses have done. We kicked off with the presents, taking them up to the hospital for the key worker families. And our last initiative is we've just had a lot of water bottles done. Where that seems to be a problem at the hospitals, is taking in water bottles and containers to get fresh drinks and that. So we've just done over 1,000 water bottles, Millwall water bottles, which becomes to the key workers. So that came to a stop. The yoga sessions came to a stop just after Christmas because the pandemic's gone crazy and there's time for the key workers at the moment. So what we're doing now is at weekends we are manning the wellbeing centres for them, the hubs. Now that's like a canteen where all the key workers come in, the nurses, the doctors, the ambulance drivers. They just have a bit of respite, just like a 10, 15-minute break. And we're manning that. We're making teas and coffees, pieces of cake, biscuits, and just having a chat with them for 5-10 minutes just to give them a respite, really.
That's brilliant.
That's lovely. Hi, Sean. It's Bethany. It's lovely to speak to you again.
Hi, Bethany.
Hello. So, how has your team been bearing up this lockdown? Obviously, where many workers have been infected or had to isolate or even been hospitalised. So, what do you have in place to keep them all safe?
Lucky enough, touch wood, nobody's got COVID yet. We've had a few people's casuals had to self-isolate because they've come in contact with... Because we've continued working in schools and working in different places. So we've had a few that have had to self-isolate for 10 days because they've come in contact with somebody that has got COVID. Most important thing for us is that we're trying to limit the sort of engagement of staff together. So I've sort of split my staff up between St Paul's and the Lion Centre. So if somebody was unfortunate to catch it down at the Lion Centre, they wouldn't wipe out all my staff. I'd still have a staff at St Paul's that can come down to the Lion Centre. So we've done a lot of training with them around it. All of them are issued with PPE, and we've just talked to them about, and we've had a few workshops on this with safeguarding about protecting themselves and their families and not taking any risks. If one of their family members has got symptoms, don't come in until that person's had that test. Where I've been very lucky and where I've got trustees is that, that they've said those people will be paid. They'll still pay them, whether it's through furlough, but we'll pay those people so they don't have to worry about finances and come in and take that. So, we're making sure that staff are safe, but financially safe. I ring all my staff, once a week, all more full-timers, I give them a bell, make sure they're all okay. And then I've sort of got my senior staff doing what we call it wellbeing calls, but just giving the casuals a bell, ringing them up, make sure they're okay, anything we can help them with, just keeping in touch with them, really.
George, Sean here, mate. How are you?
Hi, George. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. So I see the Millwall Community Cavalry ride again into the toughest of circumstances. I was fascinated to see the Millwall Community Trust transfer market game on the website, which runs weekly as a new game for anybody to try whilst they're in lockdown at home. This week's game, the transfer market, challenges people to show their many calculating skills. It's both a topical and a good brain teaser. How did this project come about?
Well, I think we learned through the last lockdown that most of our work had to be transferred onto line to keep engagement with the young people around education. Yeah. So we looked about, when we come out of lockdown, looked at all the staff and said, look, how can we're going to go into a lockdown at some time during the year. How can we get resources that are friendly, engaging, hitting the national curriculum and base it all around football? So staff have got together and we've set up a whole programme around using football but dealing with the national curriculum around literacy, numeracy. There's going to be bits where we're going to ask them to watch a football match and then listen to the commentary and then write a literacy piece on commentary of a football match. So we're just trying to use the badge of football to engage them. It's fun for them. It hits all the KPIs of the national curriculum, but it's a fun way of them learning and it's something they're very much interested in. So my lads have done really well on it. They put together a great programme and we've said every Monday that we're going to launch one piece of education that they can do during the week. But then it goes into a results pack on the website. So, at the end of January, they could download all of them and redo them all again or pass them on to their friends.
Sean, it's Stan here, mate. How are you?
I'm good, Stan. How are you?
I'm not so bad. I was pleased to see the initiatives launching this month with HMP ISIS, so named after the ancient name for the River Thames. I mean, that's something I never knew that. But anyway, I always thought it's always been the River Thames. But I believe it's a man's prison and young offenders institution on the Belmarsh prison site that starts this month. How are the objectives progressing?
Yeah, so it's a project that's been launched with a few football clubs. It's a twinning programme, so it's twinning a prison with a football club, a local football club. Some clubs have picked up on it. Arsenal are doing one, Chelsea are doing it. So I went back to Twins and said, look, it's something we definitely want to be involved in. We're definitely around stopping people going into prison, but, unfortunately some people are going to end up in prison. So how do we help them to break that circle of crime when they come back out? Because they're saying 88% of people will go back into prison because they can't break that circle of crime. So I went down to see the prisoners just before Christmas to tell them about the programme. We signed up about 20 young people that are going to be in it. It's going to be between 18 and 24-year-old. And they'll do their coaching badges with inside the prison. And then on their release, they will come and do 2 modules with me or the trust. And then they'll get their qualification to become a football coach. What we hope to do then is to give them some experience about working in the environment and sort of shadowing some of my coaches. So these all meant to kick off on the 18th of January, all planned. But due to lockdown and the new guidelines, we're going to have to delay it for a few weeks. And the reason that is that some of it is classroom-based, and the prison service have decided they don't want prisoners or inmates in small areas in classrooms. So we're going to have to hold it for a few weeks. So it looks like it's going to kick off around about the 15th of February now, but quite exciting for us, I think. Something the Trust has never done. So it's something very different for us.
Yeah, that sounds really great. I think that's a brilliant way to go forward. Just another one from me. You do a lot for mental health normally. So with lockdown and everything, what are the Trust doing in relation to mental health? Yeah,
so we have a disability programme, and we have lots of people engaged with our programme, and one of them would be the walking football, where we've got a lot of participants over 60. Mm-hmm. Got a great officer there. We've got a great officer that runs it called Dean Palmer. Now what Dean does, he will make calls to the walking football participants, for instance, just to check in on them. And he set up some sort of like Zoom groups where they will still get that social part of it, where they're having once a week, all the participants get on a Zoom meeting and they'll have a chat. And Dean will drop in and be in there, but it's sort of left them to sort of run it themselves and have a chat and to understand that people are there to support them if needed. And just sort of around November, we did a workshop or a Zoom meeting with Gary Rout, where he talked about lockdown and what it does for people's well-being and mental health and that thing about just need to go and talk to someone. And I think we've built up a relationship with a lot of our participants where they're able to pick the phone up to us, or pick the phone up to one of their other participants and have a chat.
Sean, I see the Lionesses and the assistant manager, Alex Russell, have been busy supporting what you do with no football for themselves at the moment. It appears they have turned their talents to supporting the Trust. You must be very proud of their commitment at the moment.
I think when everyone comes into Millwall, I think they buy into what we're trying to do in the community. And, if you look at the Hope Tree that we raised presents for the NHS workers, fans sent us loads of presents or sent us money to buy presents. The issue I had was on Christmas Eve I didn't have enough people to wrap the presents up, and I don't think me wrapping presents up on my own would have been very nice. So I put a call out to the Supporters Club and the Lionesses, and the week before they'd done the Santa Dash where they'd run up to the hospital and given out mince pies to all the key workers, and literally they, within an hour they were there. And no, I just think they're great role models for everybody. They never say no. If you say to them, look, I need help with this, can you help me with that? They're first to it. And when we said we're going to man the wellbeing hubs, we've had a couple of them, like Kelly was up there this Sunday, Alex was up there as well, and they've already volunteered to be up there this weekend. So it takes a little bit of pressure off us as me trying to find staff, because I always know that they're there for me. But I think they just buy into the community work that Mill will do and the difference that we can make.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Sean, it's Stan again. How did the Feeding the Children go, and are you still involved in supporting this much-needed response?
Christmas was, we were doing about 130 meals a day a game with the club and the supporters club. We were running our own activities as well, so we used St Paul's to run holiday and activity camps for about 40 children. The rest of the meals we took each day to food banks where we knew that parents, families were coming to pick up food every day to make sure they had a hot meal. We ran that right through till about Christmas Eve, and then we helped some Lewisham with putting up some hampers together for the families for over Christmas. It's something we're going to definitely do at February. You know, if it's needed, we're going to be there to do it. I'm already in talks with the Mayor's office about Easter, that we will put on holiday camps, activity camps, and feed all the children over at St Paul's in the Lions Centre if needed. But we're going to be there as long as it takes. And I think we've got enough backing through the supporters clubs and fans to help that. I mean, the club will cook the meals, no problem. It's just making sure that, you know, we've got the resources to get it out there and get the food in. But no, as long as it's needed, we'll be there supporting it.
Interested because you partnered with the London-based charity Muslim Aid to distribute food to those in need this winter. What are you required to do, and basically how was it all going?
Yeah, so they came to me in the summer through a company called Felix, and they brought... What Felix do is they go round supermarkets and get food that is close to going out of date. You know, may have only 2 or 3 days left on it, fresh fruit, etc. And they would come during the summer twice a week to the Lions Centre and drop off, you know, a pallet of vegetables, fruit, bread, all sorts of stuff. And then what we did, we distributed it out to the food banks. Now, I'm under the impression that's going to happen again with Felix going through this charity. So at the moment, we're just waiting to find out what's going to happen. But I presume that is going to be the same project, that we'll just get it out to our local food banks for children that we in need around that area.
Sean, can I ask you one extra question, please? Sorry, Gal, mate. I hear you know, you often come on here and you talk about all these projects, and I've seen them in action, obviously. I just worry about your finances. Do you have the finance to cover all of these projects?
Some things like the Lord Mayor's office, I'm speaking to them around for Easter. I want them to fund it. You know, the club, the supporters club have funded a lot going on. You know, we've offered up the Lions Centre and the stadium as a vaccination centre. You know, I know the club, you know, stored all that PPE during the last lockdowns, etc. So we have put a lot of our own finances in. Supporters Club have been very helpful. You know, they funded the last 2 feeding the children drives. So Mayor's office, I've asked him to come to the table for Easter and see if he can come with some funding for it. Some of the issues, things like the prison programme, that's funded through the football and through the prison service. So we are grant funded on some things. Some things I have to raise money for. I haven't come to a stumbling block at the moment. You know, I've managed to cover everything without having to go into all our reserves. That's where I think the fans are great. That's, you know, the Hope Tree, for instance, you know, presents were rolling in like mad for the NHS, you know. That's because people buy into what we're doing. So at the moment, I'm okay. But that's down to the supporters club.
Brilliant, Sean. I've got an interesting point you made there about talking to the mayor. How interesting that conversation has turned around since 3-4 years ago when we were struggling with the previous mayor about even being in the ground. So it's an amazing turnaround there, and obviously the work you're doing has grown that relationship, Sean, as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I made sure that the Mayor of Lewisham knew what we were doing, because there was a lot of organisations that went hiding when it all happened. You know, ones that are probably funded by the councils somewhere along the line. But I made sure that the Mayor knew what we were doing. I made sure as well that we linked up with organisations that he were funding, because I didn't believe in duplicating what was going on in the area. There's no point in doing that. If a good organisation is doing a food bank, like the Lewisham Voluntary Service, why would I do my own food bank? But what I can do, I can I can support them with staff and with resources. So I just linked up with them. And, of course, they then start feeding it into the mayor,
Yeah.
And I made sure that one of the food banks that received the hot meals in October was one of the mayor's charities to make sure that they fed back. Oh, Millwall are dropping off 40 meals a day here.
Yeah.
To make sure the mayor knows that, we're in there, we're supporting our local community. And with us being in the stadium and us growing, we're only going to support the community more.
Excellent. Just one last thing for me, Sean. I know you've got a multitude of projects going on, but is there anything new on the horizon you want to let us know about?
Well, the big one's going to be the Easter one, I think, if I can get the mayor across the line to do that. It's really about, we run an alternative provision down in Lewisham, down at the Lions Centre for vulnerable children. That's growing. That really is growing. So we're going to have to probably look at another venue to open up. Wow. So, yeah, we're looking to work probably with Youth First, which are a youth charity in Lewisham. They've got a nice venue down at Riverside, down at just down in Rotherhide, not sort of on the back of St Paul's. It's going to need refurbishing, it's going to need new astro and etc. So I think in partnership work, we might get with them and see if we can get something going down there and get that as possibly another venue. But it's going to take some Football Foundation funding. But I think between us, we can get another venue down there.
Superb. Lastly, before you go then, Sean, prediction for Saturday against Nottingham Forest.
Tough game last time. Tough game. Where I'm quite lucky at the moment is the away team use the Lions Centre to get changed before the game. So I get to talk to some players. So Carl Jenks and Lloyd Taylor all came in and they sort of told us about how Forest have sort of changed it around with Chris Hughton. I think it's going to be tough up there. They defend very deep and then they try and catch teams on counter. I'd like to say a win, but I think it'll probably end up being a draw. 1-1 again.
Fair enough. Sean, I can't thank you enough for everything you're doing for the club and for the local community, for NHS, for the hospitals, for the prisons now. It's just awe-inspiring to know what you're doing, and I do not have a clue how you're keeping it all under one hand and managing it so well. So I thank you, and I'm sure everyone who listens to the show wants to thank you as well. So thank you very much, Sean.
Well done.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, well done, Sean.
Well done.
Thank you, Sean.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Sean. Thank you.
Yeah, see you, Sean.
Right, guys, we'll take a break there. Listen to our good friend Kai Bennett and his Millwall Fans TV.
Hello, I'm Kai. I run Millwall Fan TV. I have done for about a year and a half now. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. If you just search in Millwall Fan TV, I should come up. You can also find me on YouTube at Millwall Fan TV. I do pre-match predictions, post-match analysis and full-time reaction. I also try to do as many interviews on ex-Millwall players. I've done about 10 so far and I've absolutely loved every minute of it. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, it's Millwall Fan TV. All your support is always massively appreciated. Thank you.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Stan Godwin, George Lampey and Bethany Warren. Our second guest tonight is currently Millwall Lioness's leading goal scorer, who has unfortunately spent a bit of time on the sidelines. When we were just going into the second lockdown, she picked up an injury against Stevenage Devs. She worked hard to get back to full fitness and be ready for the Lionesses when they returned, but return she didn't. And now we're in lockdown 3.0 and no football again for them. So tonight we bring a Lioness to the virtual studio. Welcome, Abbey Dell.
Hi, are you alright?
You all right, Abby?
Hello.
Abby. So, Abby, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. What was the injury you sustained against Stevenage that kept you out for a while?
I had a previous injury. I had done my MCL and PCL in my knee.
Oh, nice.
So it just like happened, like it just reoccurred really.
Oh, blimey. So is that surgery or just lots of physio?
No, just lots of physio, and it's just more like strengthening it mostly.
Fair enough. But I know you're still top scorer. I know your mates wanted to jump on the bandwagon while you're out there, Abbey, no?
No, they couldn't catch me.
Oh, good.
Hello, Abbey. It's George here.
Hello, you right?
Yeah, fine. Can you tell the listeners about how you came to join the Lionesses?
I'd heard about the trials on Twitter. So I spoke to like my family and friends of like what they had thought on the idea, and yeah, they all agreed and liked it. So I thought I'll give it a go.
Abbey, Stan here. I saw on Twitter that you have been supporting a learning initiative at Lesness Heath School in Belvedere. It's just down the road from me as it goes. Can you tell us all about that?
Yeah, I had a catch up with Nick Farrell, and he had told me about the project that him and the school are going to do. And like for myself, I've always been an active child, like always the child that'll always go to the sport classes and like play any kind of sport. And I really took a shine to it once he had told me. So I thought I would send like an encouraged video to him, and then he had really enjoyed it. So he got a couple of the other girls to do one as well.
Good.
Hello, Abbey. It's Bethany here. It's so nice to have a Lioness on the show again. Hope you're doing all right. So the pandemic has obviously restricted your game time as a team since it began, but how is it affecting your day-to-day life, and how are you keeping sharp and fit during these challenging times?
I'm still working every day, as I work in the construction industry. So that's been no change for me really. It's just more of, like you said, the football and socialising that I miss the most. But I'm still going out for runs and doing like little workouts. Also, our fitness coach Andy has set up a scheme for like 3 weeks, I think, that of like little workouts, and like we just track the recordings and stuff. So we like try and beat each other, or we just help each other out to try and find that motivation back until we're allowed back out on the pitch.
Nice.
Abbey, you mentioned that you were working in the building trade. What exactly is it you do?
I'm a supervisor for a painting and decorating company.
I thought you were going to say you were a bricklayer there, Abbey, for a minute.
Yeah. Now the men's team have been struggling up front, but you are described as a clinical striker. What is it that makes you a handful for defences to cope with?
That obviously the main goal is obviously to score the goal.
You've got 2 good feet, Arthur.
Yeah. You must be a very good striker to be a leading goal scorer, Abbey. I mean, that says it for itself, really, doesn't it?
I liked your lob a couple of weeks ago as well, Abbey. That was a great goal.
Oh yeah, that. Obviously, I see a kick like she was off her line, so I thought, there's only one option here, is to over a head.
Do you get many headers?
I scored one in a pre-season when I first started for the Lionesses, but obviously there was no fans still. But there is a clip out on Twitter that I've posted as well, if you want to check it out.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm going to head over and have a look.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that you've been a ball girl for the men's team on a few occasions? Like, that's something I'd really like to do. So how did you find doing that?
Yeah, it was really, really fun, actually. Yeah, I've been ball girl twice for them, but both times I've gone, I think they've lost, so I don't think I should go again. But but no, yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy it. So, and it's nice to do that as well, to be involved with the men's club.
Yeah, sure it is. Abbey, if you return to complete this season, what would you want as your personal ambition, and what is your expectation for the Lionesses this term?
I would say I'd like to see the team go up into the Eastern Region Premier.
Yeah.
That would be good. And personal, just to keep improving myself and scoring more goals. Really?
Yeah, no, makes sense, yeah.
Well, Abbey, it's been an absolute delight to speak to you. But before we say until next time, it's a tradition to ask all our guests for prediction. So you say you've got a association with the men's team after being a ball boy, etc. Ball girl, sorry, God. Tut. Or is it ball person? Whatever these are these days. So, what do you think the score will be against Forest this weekend?
I'd say 2-1 to Millwall.
Fair enough. So on that note then, Abbey, who do you follow then? Are you allowed to say on here?
Chelsea.
Oh. But you wear the blue of the Lions at the moment, so that's all that matters, and that's all you care for. So thanks, Abbey.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Abbey.
No worries.
Thanks a lot, Abbey.
Okay, cheers. Bye.
Thanks, Abbey. We wish you all the best, and take care and stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Bye.
Well, thanks again, Abbey, and we'll now go over to our co-speaker tonight, Bethany Warren, with the Be My Eyes app.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Gripped image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the Lionesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan Godwin, George Lampey and Bethany Warren. Eamon recently downloaded the app and has been called upon twice to help people out with small print, and he's found it very rewarding. So definitely get out there and download it. It's very, very good. Before we talk about Nottingham Forest, I would like to give a couple of people a mention. You may remember that last week Melissa Sargent won a copy of the Brian King autobiography, The Lion's King. Melissa was delighted to have won, but wanted the book for her mum, Brenda Sargent. Brenda is an avid fan of the show, and as she proudly states on her social media, and has been following the Lions for over 65 years. What a record, Brenda, a well-deserved book for someone who will have great memories of the great Brian King. All the best from our Millwall Fans Show, Brenda, and here's to many more years following the Lions. And I look forward to seeing you back down the den when we can get back down there. Take care.
Brian King here, Brenda. Glad daughter Melissa won the book for you. I look forward to seeing you when normality returns, and I'll sign it for you when I'm back down there again. Enjoy the book, Brenda. Love ya.
So, before we preview Saturday's match against Nottingham Forest, let's hear from our very own Henry Morgan and Steve Toplis of the Forest 1865 Review as the fan from the opposition, and let's just see what he has to say about the game ahead.
Welcome to View from the Opposition for this week's game away to Nottingham Forest. We're speaking to Steven Toplis from the 1865 Forest Ramble podcast. Steven, how are you? How was your festive period?
Very good, thank you. Yes, a quiet one, I think, like most people's, but obviously still glad that we've got football to enjoy to sort of get us through this lockdown.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely echo that. Look, it's great to have you back on. Since you came to the Den just before Christmas, how have Forest been playing since that Saturday afternoon?
Not too bad. In fact, that draw at the Den was the second game in a 6-match unbeaten run that we're now on. We're not scoring mountains of goals. The last league game finished 1-0, a win away at Preston, and then on Saturday we beat Cardiff by the same score.
That's right.
In the FA Cup. So, yeah, we're not scoring loads of goals, but defensively we've really tightened up now. In that run of games, we've only conceded twice in the last 5. So, defensively we've been a lot more solid.
Okay, so that's interesting. I think that's something that you mentioned in our first chat, that was a real focus for your manager, was to try and really tighten up and kick on. So that's interesting that's been going well. Who then in your team is currently on form and the Millwall need to look out for?
I think the goal scorer for us on Saturday, Lyle Taylor, he scored against Cardiff with a really well taken volley. So if he's on the pitch, which I expect he will be at some point, he will be a threat, as too will Lewis Graben. He scored the winner at Preston from the penalty spot. But I think the real kind of heroes have been our defence. They've just tightened up a lot in the last couple of games. Obviously, in the last 6 games, it's 2 we've conceded, not in the last 5. Sorry, but the interesting thing is you were one of the last teams to score against us as well in the 1-1 draw. So, you know, I think really it's the defence that's really helped us through the last couple of games.
Okay, right. Okay, interesting. So defence has tightened up to attacking threats. It's obviously at the City Ground. Is there anything else that you think might affect the outcome of the game on Saturday, or could potentially have an influence from your view?
I think it's a case of it will depend on how Millwall set up. I think if they come to Forest with the intention of keeping it tight and trying to nick a goal, you know, the classic away kind of setup, I think we will struggle with that just because we haven't been creatively anyway. We haven't been all that clinical. We've created chances, but it's been that same issue of not really putting them away, so we've relied on the defence to keep us in games. So I think if Millwall come in and they don't allow an open game, then I can see it being one of those where Forest struggle and might even struggle to get all 3 points on home turf.
Yeah, interesting. I think obviously on the back of my mind is the fact that we played away at Bournemouth. Good result for us, actually. I think getting a draw down there, Matt Smith scoring. But that fatigue potentially, you know, I don't know if you saw, but we missed 2 games due to COVID over Christmas. And we really struggled in our comeback game against Coventry City. So we're really looking for something to kick-start ourselves. A fantastic 2-0 away victory at Boreham Wood in the FA Cup hopefully fired us in the right direction. But yeah, we'll have to see now. Unbeaten in 2, I'm going to grasp at those straws coming into our game at the City Ground. No fans this time. Of course, it makes me a bit sad that was my last live game. Was that Friday evening when we played you on Sky way back now, which must be the 6th or 7th of March. The score that night obviously was 3-0 to the mighty Lions. Somehow we marched away with that. What's your score prediction for this Saturday's game?
I think it's going to be tighter than the last time you came to the City Ground. I'm thinking a single goal is going to decide it. I'm going to go based on how we've performed recently and the results we've picked up, perhaps a 1-0 to Forest, but I certainly wouldn't count out Matt Smith coming back to haunt us at some point.
That's wonderful. Look, best of luck after our game on Saturday. I hope it's a good encounter, and may the best team win.
Absolutely. All the best, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, Henry. And it's good to see the 6-0s have disappeared again. Maybe that's the turn of our fortunes. So, guys, what do you make of that preview? And is there anything else to consider? Right, I'm going to start with Bethany.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, no, I think that was quite a fair preview, to be honest. The way I see the game on... Oh, what day are we? Saturday. Do you know what? My brain is fried today. I think that I would start it with the same team as we had the other night. I think Zahor looks really, really good. You know, it's always looks like a threat. And I'd really like Danny McNamara to keep his place in the team this Saturday as well. And personally, I'd go with Ben Thompson over Ryan Leonard, but that's just me.
I think I'd have to disagree with you, Bethany, but that's just me, maybe. So, Stan?
Basically, I would keep the same team that started against Boreham Wood. I mean, although it's going to be a different game, I accept that, but that's what I would tend to do. I don't think we can keep changing it. When I say change it, I'm talking about obviously changing the personnel, and then to some degree changing the setup. But no, I mean at the moment, I mean we seem to be doing okay. I mean we was unlucky against Bournemouth. We could have been 2 up, but you know it's all fine margins. And but no, I just think all we need to do is just keep our heads, don't do anything dumb, and I think we'll be okay. And it would not surprise me if we come away from that ground with a 1-0 win. It would not surprise me.
And Georgie?
Well, I'm not surprised that Forest are doing a lot better since Horton's gone there. He's a good manager, and I think we all know that. I agree with the guys. I would keep the same team. I think our manager has shown that he's preferred 2 in the middle of Woods and Leonard, where we could all agree or disagree with that one, but it seems to work. The other night, I thought we were excellent as a team, and I think as much as they are improving, I think we'll come away with a 1-1 draw.
Well, I was going to get onto the predictions next, George.
Sorry, Cal.
That's all right. We'll stick your 1-1 in there anyway. But quick fire score predictions. Bethany?
2-0. 2-0 to us.
2-0. Stan?
Well, like I say, I'll go for a 1-0 win.
Yeah, and I'll go
for us.
I'll go. Yeah, of course. I'll go with Bethany as well, and I'll go 2-0 as well. So then we move on to next Wednesday and Huddersfield. I'll start with George on this one, as I believe he's done a bit of research.
No, I haven't actually. I just know. I just know. Yeah, I'll drop right in it now. No, I just know that they're obviously higher than us in the league. I think once again, as I said earlier in the show, I don't think we have anybody to fear in this division, and I reckon, we're depending on what team he plays, what formation. I don't have a worry with going to these games. I know we've had lots of away matches all following each other here, but I'm fairly confident, even with teams that are quite a few points in front of us. I've got no qualms actually.
No, I can completely agree with that. And I'm just actually looking at the table now. It's still really tight. We're down in, 16th? And we're only 11 points off the playoffs. And I think the top of the relegation zone is Derby on 19. So that means they're only 15 or so points outside the playoffs as well. And it's ridiculously close.
Yeah, that's right.
It is. So, Bethany, what are your thoughts about the Huddersfield game?
In positive, and I've been trying to go in positive for a while. Again, I think the team that we had out on last weekend, or was it last weekend? I'm going mad. No, it wasn't. When was it?
No, Tuesday.
Lockdown brain. Yeah, I think the team we had worked. I think we looked, a bigger threat. And then our super sub, Matt Smith, coming on. I like the way it went. So I think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think we just need to apply a little bit more of that this week with Huddersfield.
Agreed. And Stan?
I think Huddersfield's going to be a difficult side because since they've got their manager in, they play. They when they come down to the den, they look quite useful. So that's not going to be an easy game. Because then we've also got a fact to take into account that it might well be that when we get round to playing Huddersfield, we might have a new player in the side. I mean, who knows? I mean, because we are in the middle of the transfer window, or near us in the middle of it. So anything's possible on that front. But my general consensus would be that if you're winning football games, or not losing them, let's put it that way, then you should stick with the team that you got. So if, for example, we go out against Forest and beat them 1-0 and we're okay on the injury front, then I would then go with that same team again, unless it's clearly obvious that for tactical reasons you've then got to change it because we have to match up, don't we, the opposition who we're playing, and so we'll add that. I mean, so that'll be a tasty game. But again, I don't think we've got nothing to fear, except fear itself, as it goes, to quote the old saying. But no, I think at the end of the day we're going to be okay. I think once we get over our injury crisis, and if we've got a couple of players in, and who knows, Parrott might strike gold and score. I mean, anything's possible. So I think we can. I would expect a minimum for us to come away with at least a point against Huddersfield. At least a point. That's as a minimum. But no, I think we're perfectly capable of winning the game.
Excellent.
But there we go.
Right, we'll fire some quick predictions out because Stan, as much as he said a draw, he didn't actually give us a scoreline there. But we go George first.
Well, I think Stan's right in the sense that Huddersfield have improved, and I quite like their manager, actually. But I think this might be a case where we're going to win 2-1 away from home.
Bethany?
I always like to go for a win, so I'll go 1-0.
And Stan, which draw do you want?
Sorry, what? A draw. Well, if we're going to have a draw, it'd be 1-1. But if we're going to go for a win, I mean, I did say a draw is a minimum. Right. But I would tend to agree with George. If we're going to win the game, we'd do it by 2-1.
Okay, and I'm going to go with a 2-0. So interesting. So hopefully, by the time we next all meet up on the No One Likes Us Talking podcast, we'll have a few more points on the board if we all go with our predictions.
Hopefully.
So, fingers crossed. But don't forget you can hear Henry's review of the match on Sunday with Steven Toplis, and links will be available on our social media sites for that. So we will take a break there and we will listen to the demanding voice of Patricia Maslin.
Hi, Patricia Maslin here. The Millwall Community Trust needs volunteer help. Whether you're an organisation with bodies able to assist or an individual, the Trust needs you during the current conditions to support the vulnerable and needy. If you can help make a difference or need help, please contact Sean Daly, the Trust's Chief Executive Officer, by phone on 07958 027060. Once again, that's 07958 027060. Or contact by email sdaly, I'll spell that, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. I'll repeat that, sdaly, SDALY, at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you can, or you know someone or any organisation who might be able to help, please let the Community Trust know. Thank you.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Stan Godwin, George Lampey, and Bethany Warren. People continue to lose their lives to this dreadful virus, or as a consequence of suffering with it. Deaths and infections continue at an incredible rate, with many more still hospitalised too. Our thoughts go out to their families, friends, and those that take care of them. Stan has some thoughts on someone he'd like to remember.
Yeah, thank you. Well, unfortunately this week I received the sad news that a good friend of mine, a guy by the name of Dan Gibson, had passed away because of the coronavirus. And so therefore, obviously, you know, the condolences go out to his two sons, Chris and Gary, and Chris's wife, Lindsay, and their two kids, Joe and Connie, and then Gary's partner Lisa and Dan's grandson James. I mean, Dan was a Millwall supporter for well over 50 years. I mean, he was a gold dust man, and you know, and once you knew it, once you met him, right, he was a bloke that you could never forget him, and you know, we used to sit up together in Block 9 on a Cold Blow Lane upper. And it used to be good fun with him, and when my grandson first met him, Regan, for the very first time when he was about 6, I mean, he was just taken with Dan. He was something else, and it's a sad loss, not only to Millwall, but also to his family as well, and condolences to everyone concerned.
Nice thoughts.
Yeah, nice thoughts, Stan. There are so many fans who want to help the club, and you can help by joining the Lions Loyalty Club. It costs £40 with benefits. For £25, you can be a member of your family, could be a crowdie. I think Stan's got one now, I'm sure he has. I've seen it several times already. For £104, you can be a virtual mascot with benefits, or why not sponsor a player's kit for £570, also with benefits. All the details and more can be found on the Millwall website. Lastly, don't forget iFollow returns with Cole Bates on Saturday up at Forest, and 100% of what you pay goes to Millwall Football Club. What a good way to improve their revenue at these challenging times. Good night, everybody, and stay safe.
Next Friday, Gary hosts Dave Hart, Patricia Maslin and Ted Robinson. In the meantime, Scott Johnson, the founder of the Proper Blokes Club, is still looking for guys to come along and join him to break the stigma of men's mental health with walk and talk groups. Being in lockdown means walks will continue, but on a one-to-one basis. Check out the Proper Blokes Club on Twitter and Facebook for further details. And good night from me.
Don't forget, neither the Millwall Lionesses or Romans are playing football under the current restrictions. Nonetheless, player sponsorship for the Lions is still available this season. So why not do it between a few of you, or even a couple of companies? If you can give them some added support, you can find the details on their website. Just pop Millwall Lionesses into your browser and you'll find them easily enough. We've led by example and we've sponsored their captain, Libby Stubbs. And that's a good night from me.
Thanks, Bethany. Lastly, let's not forget to keep safe on the streets out there. Follow the lockdown guidance, social distancing when outside, and wear a face mask when necessary. So I look forward to seeing you all again next week. But that's it from me this week. Thanks, Stan, George and Bethany. Until next week, good night.
Good night.
Good night.